Jacked Up Review Show. It's a Jacked Up Review Show. Jacked Up Review Show. It's a Jacked Up Review Show.
Join us as we cover many an insane movie and numerous cult TV phenomenons. Are you ready to get jacked up? Are you with us? Then listen on.
Listener discretion is advised. It's a Jacked Up Review Show. It's a Jacked Up Review Show. Jacked Up Review Show. It's a Jacked Up Review Show. It's a Jacked Up Review Show. Jacked Up Review Show.
And welcome back to the show. We finally got Matthew Litwin on here. Our buddy is calling us for bed. We finally were able to arrange his schedule to be on here. And John's back.
What's up, everybody?
We are starting once again. Just gonna start talking about food. Food.
Yeah.
We had our comments in the group, and that was like the third subject everyone wanted us to talk about most following movies and music. So we're just like, okay, cool. We'll talk about some food.
So how does one segue to talk about burgers and their merits and pitfalls?
Because much like film, you are what you eat. So it's like
Very true.
burgers. It's like burger, pizza, and what's the other one that everyone hot dogs. So yeah, it was like now got tortillas. It was like, but yeah, burgers is like everyone was gonna, before we had all the vegan versus alternative meat services, like everyone was gonna find themselves at some kind of burger joint somewhere in their life. So
Or you just get those microwave ones that look like the burgers you get from burger joints.
right,
Yeah.
that may or may not be legit.
I might have just revealed a little guilty pleasure from my past, but
Yeah, I get myself
go
a
through a
racetrack
phase.
burger
Yeah.
once in a while just because I can. And I'm like,
Well, my
well,
brother still gets that to this day, so.
it's like, hey, every 3 months, why not? So just kind of I'll let everyone introduce how they kind of just got into having that be the part of the course of their meal. So like, Matt, this is your first time episode, and the guest always goes first.
Okay.
So when did you start kind of appreciating that? It's like you were gonna do all kinds of ground beef and in a burger. Was it just always second nature? Some parent was buying it for you, or just made it part of your diet instantly?
It's funny. Okay, so when I grew up, my mother was completely health obsessed. So the idea of fast food in any level was just simply not done. And like even to talk my mom into taking us to McDonald's, at any point was just a thing. Like it was.
My mother would do it every
very
once
special.
in a while, but not all the time. And plus,
Yeah,
just like I only got X amount of spending money from your father. I'm not gonna do this every day, every meal of the day, guys. Come on.
But so when I got to be a high schooler, it was just, it was on as far as fast food goes. So it was just, it was a lot of BK, but but like there was this point, I think getting through like, you go through, you get the Hangover and White Castles, and you get like, I moved out to California and was introduced to the wonders of Jack in the Box. But at some point, I'll tell you a story about Jack in the Box in a second. But at some point, like there was like burgers became just from like, eating lots of, having the fast food experience and scarfing a burger while you're in your car to going and having fresh ground beef, and it's turning into something that costs $15. And I don't know where we lost sight of that. Somewhere in between having a bag, literally a 10 bag of White Castles to $10 burger. I don't know. Something changed, and I don't know who I was or what happened. So I'm willing to discuss this because I don't know.
No, I totally know what you mean. Whereas it seemed like everyone's telling you 5 different things, and you're just like, well, I still gotta eat. So
Mm.
$5 burger that tastes so fucking great. It's gonna have to do tonight, even though I should clearly change my diet and how I want to eat. But that's the other thing too. I mean, everyone's body reacts to different things differently. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. So I guess to start us off, I mean, I noticed how. Yeah, it's like those. That was just kind of the thing where it's like, if you can either buy it from the nearby gas station, or you can go to the nearby fast food place, or you can go to the restaurant and have it with a bunch of salad that may not actually be actual salad, or may not be good for you. So yeah,
It's all about presentation.
it is.
That's all it is.
That's how they get you. So John, when did you become one with the burger?
Oh God, I think it was. If I remember correctly, I think it was I was in junior high at the time. I never ate any burgers when I was a kid whatsoever, because I just refused to for some reason. I don't know why. At the time.
It wasn't tasty. I don't know.
I guess not. I was more the chicken tenders kid.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
That's-
We did plenty of
That's how it
chicken
was.
nuggets. And like all that
The
bread
nuggets.
around that chicken. Oh my god.
You're gonna strips or nuggets though? Those are different things, right?
Oh, there
What's
you
your
go.
preference?
Yeah.
Well,
That's a
strips.
good
Yeah,
question.
that's how
Okay.
it was.
Oh,
That's how I got into it, and eventually I got to the fast food stuff, which we'll get to some of them that I've been to, and some I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
been to. To be fair.
plenty of pros and cons of each of these. So, yeah, I was kind of the same way as like ever since just elementary. You know, we would be a mix of Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's, and we would time it out. We wouldn't go all there all the time, and you know,
Same
we
here.
still would do spaghetti and macaroni nights and all that. But you know, it is kind of wild how much stuff. I was just like, I would like to wonder, just like, had I just known then and there, would I eat it now? Same thing with cereal. It's like, oh my god, all that sugar. That it makes so much sense why some days I was constipated, or some days I, you know, just I was hungry for hours because like all I've had is just milk and sugar. I haven't had any actual, you know, like protein or anything.
It's not in fact nutrition.
It's just garbage.
Yeah,
I as well have eaten 5 brownies. That's all I practically ate. Is what that was. So, yeah, Burger King, Wendy's, and McDonald's are kind of the free, you know, just kind of big ones. So I guess we could review them. Is like, are we fans or not? And obviously, we know these aren't healthy for us, guys. We get it. Don't lecture us. Just what are the pros and cons of each one? Let's start with Wendy's, I guess. It's like, I really used to dig those burgers, but after a while, it seemed like the milkshakes got pretty bad after a while, so that would be kind of a con.
the milkshake was
I
important.
still get like the Frosties every now and then sometimes.
Okay,
in the
so maybe I
summer.
should go back. Maybe it was just the particular one I was going to.
Yeah, it depends upon the ones you go into. That happens with me with a lot of places around here,
Oh,
especially McDonald's, but that's another story.
oh yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Matt, did you ever go there much, or did you kind of just say, man, it's okay?
To where? To
Yeah, Wendy's.
Wendy's. You know, honestly, of those 3, I would actually go pick Wendy's over the 2 of them because
So McDonald's did the whole, you know, it's just like both them and Burger King just seem to just kind of have just such. Sometimes the meals didn't feel halfway cooked, and then it's like McDonald's has just been getting off on just buy all these other things. So it's like it's not really even a burger joint anymore. Just get the chicken nuggets, get the egg patty, you know, just.
I think it was because Wendy's was the closest thing that actually resembled food.
They would have an actual salad and a bunch of other shit in there. So it's like, yeah, it's
That's true.
It's like a less over the top Taco Bell. Everyone's going, but you can find something generally for everyone.
And then on top of that, Wendy's also has they have no shame in throwing in like the triple stack with bacon and everything else on top. It's just, you know, there is, if you're gonna have a shame burger, just you might as well go to Wendy's.
Shame.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish I had experimented with it that much, but yeah, I mean, I never had, because Burger King, I think we went to Burger King a bunch just because they always we fell victim to the advertising. Like, hey, you want to collect all the collectibles, you know?
Yeah, same here.
And their burgers were garbage, I thought.
Yes.
Personally, because this is like, one time it's like, I got a burger that just felt half frozen or just like just too much pink. I'm like, do you guys know how to do your job? So that's where I gave it up from that point on. When anyone wanted to go, I said, have fun.
Also, their fries were terrible. Like, they never quite got that
Never
right.
any flavor or anything. It's like just
Yeah, they were
might
never
as
that
well
good
have
to
just
begin with.
eaten a raw potato because that's as good as what they got.
I mean, and they tried so many iterations to try to make better fries, and they never landed. It just, you know.
I'll give
The
credit to
only
McDonald's
thing,
for
only
the
thing that was
pickles.
decent was the chicken fries, I'd say. But
Well, see, I should have
That's-
tried those, but I was a fool. I didn't get those.
Yeah.
But yeah, McDonald's, it seemed like they mastered the pickle. They knew how to put that pickle right there in the middle of the center.
They also, I mean, their whole fry thing was a science. I mean, you know how.
Oh yeah, they're all fried
oh yeah,
from
But-
something other than what it claims to be.
Oh well, yeah, it's like basically the French fry equivalent of a Pringle, right?
This is years before we saw documentaries like, Super Size Me and all that.
Right. We don't want
Right.
Let's just for our own health and well-being, let's just not bring that up because that'll just make us squeam.
yeah.
But I mean, their whole fry thing is like it was a science to the point where when they would get the potatoes, which they would pulverize and make it into the whatever the amalgam that became the French fry. They would add, like, in the winter they would add sugar, and in the summer they would take the sugar out of the potatoes so that it would taste consistent throughout the year. Like, that's how much of a science they treated it. Like,
And that's for the longest time why I didn't try sweet potatoes, because I just figured, it's just a potato with sugar. I hate that shit. It doesn't taste good. And it's like, well, no, most sweet potatoes, they do it the right way. They put cinnamon and then they, do a deep bake. And they actually are good before you add all the other shit on top of it. So and it's just the same thing with the, with salads. It's like everyone thinks, well, I guess I'm just going to go with the iceberg, because it tastes better, but that's like got no nutrition value. That's just eating water is what you're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The iceberg salad.
They would always
in
have
itself.
that there for the parents who did not want to eat that. It's like, well, you can go to the, salad bar.
And it was clearly like just an octant of the sphere. You know what I mean? Like this chop,
Right.
chop, chop, and that's
It's
like
just
you
so
get
whoever
a wedge.
they were kind of unintentionally predicting before the whole health scares and everything. It's like, well, if you just don't want to be rude and just be sitting there at the table while everyone else eats, you can just go to the salad bar.
Right.
You can still put some bacon on it if you still want to do that. But, yeah.
Bacon. You mean bacos? No.
Or whatever the hell it is that they would
No.
pretending to be bacon that you would put on the salads.
Yeah, man. But I have to say, like, I mean, when you compare like the burgers of like Burger King, the burgers of Wendy's, and the burgers of McDonald's, and also Jack in the Box, all of them really. I mean, they're all sort of
Jack in the Box, yeah. It's like,
Oh, I mean, I'll tell you about Jack in the Box stuff. Anyway. So actually, well, the thing is that each, but you tell me if I'm off on this, but like they're all hamburgers by name, but each one of them are definitely different entities as to what they are actually trying to sell or make or taste like. Like, because a Burger King burger, for whatever, a Whopper.
it felt like they were just taking deviations of other kinds of pork and just mixing it all together.
Yeah, it was.
Wendy's was just kind of like, yeah, it's a cow.
Yeah, Wendy's seemed burger like. It was very much like the cafeteria burgers that you'd get when you're at like it's very close to like a diner burger. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely food service grade.
Burger.
Yeah. But it's just like whatever. It's just like mid-grade beef, whatever. You nothing's shocking there. But then like Burger King took processing to a whole new level. Like though I don't even know what was going on with those burgers. And McDonald's just was like, they take everything good out of a burger and then just sort of sucked it out and did something. I don't know. I
really think they just put ice cream on it and then deep baked it in there.
It's very strange. But
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
But I was gonna say,
something. That was Scientology food. That was an alien pulling air and zapping shit.
But I was gonna mention that the Jack in the Box. I don't know if you remember this, but like there was a huge, like I don't know, it was a food poisoning thing that happened in the '90s with Jack in the Box. They had it murdered their
Vaguely
brand.
heard about it. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was kind of just like second nature. I was never surprised when I heard a report of someone found a roach in
Right.
Taco Bell's food. It's like they were
Well-
not taking the food
Well, they were.
supervision seriously.
I mean, they rarely do, but they had an actual.
Yeah,
like,
they still don't, but it's just like, and especially during COVID, it's like, yeah, there's no way anyone's distancing. Have you seen how tiny an average kitchen is? Yeah.
it's a lot of plastic and talk, but yeah, but the thing is with Jack in the Box was like they were using like neck meat. That was why I was mentioning that earlier. Like that is like they were not, they were doing what any other fast food company was doing by offering low grade beef, but it was to a point where people were getting really sick, and also because whatever the conditions of the kitchen were always questionable. So
And all these
Jack in
business
the
owners lobby so they can
right.
hold off
They can-
some of the food police for
Right.
a while before someone
What
does. So.
But what happened was as a reaction to this, because of the fact that they had to kind of like get their pull themselves out of the gutter, and on top of the ad campaigns with with Jack and all that business, which they I'm sure spent hundreds of millions of dollars on. But now, compared to all their fast food chains, like Jack in the Box kitchens are actually the cleanest and operated in their functions than any other fast food restaurant you can go to.
I've never had an issue with them, but it has been kind of a matter as like any time I'm reacting, it's just whatever, how much sauce and other salt is in it. It's just like it's typical sugar or salt rush that goes for your body. But yeah, I've never seen anyone complain about the environment in those kitchens versus I've seen plenty of people complain about Burger King.
Yeah. I always felt bad for people who I know friends who had to work inside a Taco Bell.
That was all they had, and it's like it's down the street. It makes sense to go, and it's like, well, and now you're gonna lose your appetite for the next 500 years.
But to have to, I mean, there is like the all other side of it. Yeah, the whole working at a fast food restaurant, because then that'll turn you off fast food probably for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even now, and I'm just. I don't know about you guys, but I do my best to try to eat somewhat reasonably, but there is, I don't know whether it's just from like, that years of advertising or just some like younger memory, but sometimes we'll get pulled into one of those places, and I just hope that no one sees me go in. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean. It is kind of one of those. It's like, yeah, I know what sucks about it, and for whatever reason, I'm here, and
But here I am, and
this isn't food I even will enjoy. It's just
That happens to me a lot, especially if you have a long day. If you got off work and you're hungry, that tends to happen sometimes. That, yeah, trust me, that's happened to me quite a few times.
And it sucks because it's like, well, I know damn well this is not good, but
Yeah.
And it happened once when I had to go to Taco Bell, just because we had wrapped on a independent film we were doing, and we were just all starving. We just did not wrap as fast as we could, and at the same time, we also just could not, wait anymore, and everything else was closed for the night, and we're like, fuck, well, that's what we got, and that just, my body hated me for the next day and a half. I'm like, why did you do this? Why?
Well, apparently the beef at Taco Bell is
The beef with the beef.
the beef. Well, the ground beef stuff is like apparently like 88% soy protein. It's just like beef flavored soy protein. Apparently, I had learned that. Yeah, it's for real. I mean, it's probably a lot cheaper, but
That's how
there's-
cheap your life is going to be if you keep eating.
pretty much. But what you got to admit, like, I mean, granted, we all have our like hankerings for whatever
Just can't help
garbage
it.
food or fast food. It's just you can't resist. But like you're still gonna feel like maybe like going in there like, oh, I shouldn't do this, but I really hope I'm doing it anyway. And 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 then afterwards you're definitely going to have a little buyer's remorse, and you feel like, oh, what did I do? But but
I'm gonna take it home and then I'm gonna deep fry it in the microwave.
and I'm gonna make my car stink of it, and that's the other thing. It's like as soon as, I don't know about you, but as soon as if I ever have to eat in the car, like the first thing I do is just get rid of that garbage, because I just don't. It's that's first of all, the smell just permeates everything, but like I don't want anybody else in my life to smell it and call me on it. Maybe that's just me being like
You're being a really neat freak.
well, it's more like just like I don't want you judging me in my food choices or something. I don't know. It's just kind of funny because maybe that's just because I live in California.
You're stopping a conversation before it happens.
Exactly. Precisely.
Yep.
Let's talk more about Jack in the Box.
I've actually never been there, so I can't say.
Really?
To
Okay.
be
Well,
honest.
I really dug their bacon and everything, but I always had to make sure to not get the sauce. For whatever reason, their sauce did not agree with me. And I think most of us here have been to Whataburger.
I've not.
Whataburger? I don't even know what that is, actually.
Whataburger.
Enlighten us. Oh,
Whataburger.
I don't know. Where's this is a regional thing, or?
It's a nationwide. I'm sure it's even
Yeah, it
international
is.
by this point. Whataburger, just how it like you like it.
Huh. I guess I'm clearly. I feel like I'm missing something.
Well, it's been around for a while, but I mean, I think my issue with Whataburger is like you had to literally put everything on top of it. Is double patties, extra sauce, and everything, and it was like my friends and my brother and his friends, is like they would always just have that be a deal. It's like, all right, we're in town, let's go to Whataburger, and I was like, this stuff fucking sucks. And they're like, oh, not if you do this or that. I'm like, well, okay. But still, you got to go the extra mile and add all this other shit that is definitely going to fuck up your system somewhere along the way.
Well, mostly salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like Sonic too. Like that's it's
Sonic
it's kind
is
of those
very
places.
interesting. Yeah, it's like
We don't know what we are.
Whataburger and Jack in the Box.
Yeah. I had to take I'd actually look up Whataburger, and I realized, okay, I know what this is. But in the fact that there's always everything is sort of like smaller, so you just get a lot of random stuff. And like Sonic is all about that. And it seems like
totally
that's the
all they
same
are.
thing. And yeah, and you're covering
They're-
food with other food
I
stuffs.
think I'd tie him easily for. I would definitely tie him up with Wendy's. They really have figured out how to be creative with the Frosties.
Well, with
Yeah,
Sonic,
because-
I used to get the shakes a lot. That's what, especially when
That's
there's
all
like
big
the
sugar
$5
rush, if
shakes.
that's the
Yep,
case. Yeah.
that's
And
I
if
used
you
to
eat
do
it
when I
all
was in
in
high school.
there, yeah, it's like you got to let that stuff melt a bit before you eat it.
Oh yeah, you had to.
But if we're going to talk
man.
shakes, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is In-N-Out Burger. Have you ever been there?
Good point. Yeah,
I've not been there.
lines are unbearable, but
They're what? The what?
the lines are unbearable.
Oh, they can. Yeah, the COVID
But
has helped that, but yes, they are.
I do concur. I think it can be good or bad sometimes depending on the day, but they really have figured out how to just kind of, for lack of a better word, just be creative with the burgers and
Yeah,
your combo packs.
Which is well, I mean, with In-N-Out, which is kind of crazy, is that they literally just sell burgers in various sort of incarnations that are with or without cheese, and their animal sauce, and whether or
You can
not
even get a lettuce wrap if you want to go.
exactly go protein style, exactly. But it's
so
like
kind
that.
of a better version of Whataburger, I would say.
They're really. I mean, I gotta say, like In-N-Out is. I think as far as that in the arena of drive-through, I think they kind of are apex when it comes to burgers, and
Ace.
their fries too. Yeah, and I mean, and frankly, like their milkshakes truly, like the rest of their food could be garbage. Just the fact that their milkshakes are like, I think the best thing in the world, and I will stand by that statement. As far
We'll probably go there more often sometime when they I don't know.
Makes-
People stop fucking around and infecting everybody. But
That's true.
now, how many of you have often been to Brahms? I'm gonna actually have to put this in the ring as my MVP. I so miss going to Brahms.
I've never actually heard of that, to be honest.
Mm.
Brahms?
Yeah,
No.
mm-mm.
Oh, Mr. King of the Ice Cream? Oh man.
No, it's not around here at all.
Not around here. Okay, so the deal with Brahms was it's both a restaurant, fast food. You can do a drive-in, or you can, sit. And it's just like was always the king of the ice cream. But later on, they would, if you went in the morning, they had breakfast tacos, and we'd get a bunch of those. Some mix up egg and tomatoes, and but yeah, burgers. I think they have really figured out how to really just get those beef just really flavorful, and I never have any violent reaction to it afterwards. And but yeah, if you don't want to go there, you can just go in and just always just without fail, they always have a mini grocery section on the right side, any of them you go to. And I think it is kind of a Texas thing, but it's pretty nationwide, and it's very interesting how it's just kind of just kept evolving. We just kind of would go there more often than not. I think it's way better than DQ, Dairy Queen.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, if they got like that full menu thing, I mean, it's
They are pretty creative with the menu. You can do various types, and they of course have adapted to doing chicken and other deviations of various things. But, Dairy Queen just kind of was just like, how much just sugar can we put on already overfrosted, over sugarized ice cream?
Yeah. I think that's why. Well,
when I got to
that's not
age
the reason.
12 or
That's not the
14.
reason why. The Dairy Queen by me shut down. But that's a whole other story there.
I had to give them up after a while. I was like, and even those ads, I would even get pissed off just listening to the ads. I'm like, shut up. That's what I like about Texas. I'm like, oh.
But I mean, then there's just Dairy Queen, but then there's A&W. Have you ever those burgers?
Oh my God, A&W. Root beer.
Well, I mean, I the only ones that I know of that I remember around me have, for the most part, closed down. But like they still
I think
exist.
so. Yeah,
They still
it's like
exist.
Yeah.
They're still doing their thing, whatever that is.
mainly in Canada, but yeah, it's like they're there, but you're gonna have to go to like a small, old school, like individualized part of town, that
Yeah,
kind of is going for that old 40s look. Anyone can come on in.
yeah. It's that sort of the color scheme of brown and darker brown. It's they. I mean, there used to be one across the street from where I worked, and I for years, not years, but a couple of years, did not have this sort of thing where we're not going there
Not
ever
age
for
well.
lunch. We're not going there. We're not doing it. We finally did, and honestly, it was it was like everything was cold, and I can't imagine, like, you couldn't even like the way that it was assembled. You had to kind of like reassemble it because it was just sort of tossed together. It was just very everything about it seems super
It's
sketchy.
just crumble the minute you catch it, you touch it, and
Right.
it is kind of
And-
interesting how it's kind of like White Castle. It's like we're so used to just getting the take home, at any gas station. You can just heat up for 2 minutes, maybe 80 seconds, depending on what it's set for. But it's like, yeah, A&W, I'm sure it's got to exist just multiple times. It's still talked about, especially if you want to go to the Wikipedia page and look it up. But I mean, I will admit though, there is one that I've always heard about and I've always seen, but I've never been inside. And by the time, I started kind of being tempted, I had already kind of sworn off going to a lot of those places because I just knew what crap kind of filth was in them. And that would be Carl's Jr. I've never been inside or had
I've
those.
never been to those either.
Well, let me tell you guys, you would have been missing out, because
I'm sure it's fucking awesome.
I honestly, we have a couple here, and they're pretty popular in Cali. And there's even the sketchy one in the center of San Francisco, which is, I mean, really sketchy. But
Yeah,
like,
they do like to put them in crappy parts of towns.
it is, yeah.
That's the other
But
thing.
you have to get your burger through like basically like bulletproof glass and stuff and all that, and then I'm not even kidding. But but they're good. I mean, they had that Western burger thing with the onion ring on it. That thing is ridiculous. I may have to like take my name off this so I don't have to like be afraid of the shame. But yes, they are good. Just and it's funny because I just never really the reason for eating there the last time was because the building next to ours was on fire and we had to leave the house with nothing, with a pair of keys and like our dogs, and while the police department or the fire department was like basically kept us out until like 4 a.m, and we were like, they'd been standing out there for 5 hours and everything else was just like, God, I want to go back inside. I'm like, well, screw this. Let's just go to the only place that's open down the street at Carl's Jr., which is open 24/7. And it was just, there were like just lunatics outside because that's San Francisco. And but when I braved it to go inside and get a bag of burgers, and thought I was taking my life into my own hands, but they were damn good. And I will say, like, you just try the Western. It's knowing full well that it's an onion ring with barbecue sauce and bacon on 2 burgers. Then once you're past that, it's all just deliciousness.
Sounds
great.
delicious.
Now, have you ever encountered any burger boxes in your areas?
Burger boxes.
It's called Burger Box. That's what it's called.
It's funny, you have a very solid background of very edge case burgers.
It might just be a Texas thing, but I've been able to encounter a bunch of them all just throughout many multi-metroplexes, and I think I saw one listed on California somewhere, but it might be a different one or just a different logo or one with the same name. But yeah, Burger Box is pretty solid. Basically, I rank them up there with Brahms and everything, and they're just always at decent corners. You could get, chili poppers and all that kind of thing, all that jazz. And then if you didn't want just mini tortillas or chicken nuggets, you could also get just giant scoop of Bluebell ice cream. Yeah, they're all throughout Irving and Bedford and Euless. That was my go-to during college because I just I couldn't avoid it. Like, it was kind of like Rose's Cafe, except just more spread out. It's like, yeah, I can go here for breakfast and then I can come back here next week for dinner.
I know one that I'll always go to this. Like, it's been a long time since I've been to this. It's very odd, but Five Guys is one I'm going to at times. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Was there a pizza place? Five Guys?
No, Five Guys burger, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's solid. Five Guys is solid.
It is.
Five Guys, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of, I think,
the fries over there.
I think it's kind of like they're an East Coast thing, kind of like Southeast Coast.
I've definitely
Coast.
seen one of the logos. I don't know where I saw it, but I definitely saw it somewhere. I don't know if it was when I was vacationing up in Chicago or Ohio, but I've definitely seen them somewhere. And it was the most unusual part of like DFW. And I was like, what is this?
Well, they got that like white and red thing going on. That's pretty intense. But like,
it really is an unusual logo.
And if you go to, I was in Atlanta, and again, it was like the best. I think also, and just to be fair, like, if you're any state of being hungover, things always taste twice as good when they're, fried in grease. It's just face facts.
True.
But yeah, it's like that was the thing in Georgia when I was there. It was like, Five Guys, and then there was, like, the other one was Crystal, which was basically, I guess,
I was gonna mention that too.
The equivalent of yeah. Would you say that Crystal was like White Castle, or I mean,
kind of like White Castle? That's why I describe it as.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I prefer White Castle, at least from what I remember. It's been a long time since I've had that, to be honest, because it closed down around here like 4 years ago. So I haven't
They
been to
had,
one since.
yeah, they had a couple ways to kind of cut costs, and I think one of them, if I recall correctly, was that they like take a punch and take out like a small ring of meat from the burger to
Hmm.
save on volume.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's better that they do that than put weird fillers in the burger. So I'm totally fine with that.
Same, you know.
But
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'm seeing Smash Burger came up in a similar food. I definitely thought that was pretty good. I can't remember where I had it, but Smash Burger, ever heard of it?
I have never been there.
Never
Right
been there.
away.
I think it
No.
was pretty solid. It wasn't stand out, but it was kind of like a more grounded, no pun. Just kind of just options for everyone. I would describe it as kind of the CC's Pizza of burgers, just kind of just more casual. It's like, whoa.
Well, they came.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
think they came. It's weird because the only reason I know Smash Burger is because they seem to scoop up all the properties that used to be Boston Market. Remember that place?
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't know if the one.
they definitely, this was definitely had been like a former McDonald's or Burger Box or something,
Mhm.
and they were transforming it.
Yeah, they just sort of swooped in. Like I think they're pretty new, but they're good. They look good. I mean, it looks like
Okay.
it could be good. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I have not actually dared, but it's yeah. When you get into the reality is when you get into your 40s, you start looking at these things as okay, this might kill me, like literally, but I'm gonna just sort of like that's what's wrong. But you pick your burgers with great
With
care.
very- Now,
At least,
are there any Mooyah burgers, fries, and shakes in your area?
yeah, I've never heard of that.
No.
They had some just like delicious like French fries that were kind of vegetable as well, and especially with the burgers, you could be very creative with it. You could have mushrooms, you could have patty with some vegetable like broccoli in it, and it was like okay, very cool. So this is like uh, kind of like a mix of if you wanted just kind of a Boca burger and just some interesting kind of tater tots, and then just giant Coke or uh, I can't remember. No, I don't think they had any. They just kind of had just more milkshakes. So it's like, okay, cool.
It's interesting that they would go that way in a chain. I would have I'd be
It was
wondering
a
how
very
how
unusual
successful.
chain, that is for sure. And let me see, is it a franchise? There's got to be a Wikipedia page, surely.
I'm looking. Actually, I just popped it open and it's like,
There
let's
you
see.
go.
It's from headquartered in Plano, Texas. So that's Ross Perot country right there. So
There you go. Area served Saudi Arabia. Shit. Okay.
it's okay. Well, I guess that's your franchise base.
I guess so.
They opened in
Yeah.
2016 in Alabama. Okay. Oh shit. So
Mm.
it's going around, just not everywhere. But yeah, they used Angus beef. It was just very unusual, and sometimes I would just go there just casually after I just been doing chores like mowing the lawn and everything. It was like, I can just chill in the backyard, and I got this damn giant Mooyah burger. It's like you can get something that's a little more deep fried for everyone else, and then you can get slightly less unhealthy option that's got kind of like some salted sweet potatoes or something else besides just French fries and just generic burgers. So I was like, okay, cool.
There's a whole. We're looking at like the whole fast food thing, but I mean, I think the reality is that there's a whole new wave of like quote unquote gourmet burger places that are
And
that have,
music.
like
But don't.
yeah, the like I don't know if you have Super Duper around there, but that is something we have here.
I might have to check.
It's like I don't know how far it reaches, but it's definitely a Northern Cal thing, and there's a lot of them like around the state, but they're really good, but really expensive. So, but they're still trying to kind of go at that counter service vibe with, I don't know if they do drive-in, but they're, it's a counter service restaurant. It's not like anything special, but they're still charging, they're charging a tidy sum for a burger, and it is good, but I just don't know, like it makes me wonder like how, okay, so you're having a counter service restaurant, and you're going to have these very expensive burgers. Like, do those two things go together? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It does. The pricing is just always just kind of blowing my mind because it's like, but yeah, no, that doesn't add up.
Yeah. I mean, they're good. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's.
Or they give you just too much. Where it's like, oh my god, that's 2 weeks worth.
Yeah.
I gotta split
Sometimes
this up, but I
happens.
won't because I'm a whore and I'm hungry. But
On some
just,
places, they barely give anything. That's happened to me.
yeah, and then you're like, I paid $5 for that. Oh, I'm never coming.
Exactly.
That's kind of the MO of fast food, is to give you as little as possible for what you're paying. I mean,
They want to keep coming back and teasing you. It's like a strip club. It's like, Jesus, I don't like to be teased, so I'm not going.
Exactly.
I want food with food in it.
I want actual fucking food.
There.
Alright. So, how about we move a little bit into kind of just the restaurants that serve a bit of everything. So, would you describe you guys selves as more of an IHOP or as a Denny's guy?
I guess I'll say IHOP because I've never been to Denny's in a long time, so
All right.
that's all I can say.
I used to be Mr. IHOP, and then when I stopped just eating pancakes, just like, yeah, I'm seeing so much flour, I love it, but it's not even real syrup, so I just stopped getting those, and I just started just kind of just getting whatever was on, whatever burgers or omelets were on any of the menus, and gotta say, I definitely prefer Denny's nowadays. It was like, IHOP is fine if you want to go that way, but it's like, Denny's for me is like how the way they sizzle all those various bacon wrapped burgers and just various dishes for tortillas you can pick is like, I'm down for the count on those. I'm down.
Well, if I would
go ahead.
and
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, there's like a whole area of those, like the Denny's and IHOP. I think the thing that binds them together, the thing they have in common, most of those plastic menus that have everything that you can literally eat off of.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
and pictures, in case you don't know how to speak, so you can just point. But the thing is, though, like IHOP, IHOP is definitely where I would go. Like if I want breakfast at 3 p.m, okay. But like Denny's is where I go if I want breakfast at 3 a.m. That was kind of the way I differentiate the two. But I think
I don't have a Denny's, but over here we have a Waffle House, which I know my sister's been trying to beg me to go to for years, and I just never been there. I don't care.
Waffle House is a Southern tradition, man.
Yeah, it is. I've heard how unclean that place is. That's why I'm refusing to go. I'm sorry, but
You have a reputation.
don't care.
You have a reputation.
Trying to remember the one place that just served a bunch of beans and everything. I'm just trying to look for it now.
Yeah.
But it had some delicious burgers, I think.
But it seems like
all these giant egg, not egg salad, potato salad is what they served. Anyone know?
It seems like the places like Waffle House, especially, and other like, similar places.
I want to go to Waffle House, and each time it's always a line.
Yeah, I'm actually this is really now that it's like, I don't know about you guys, but for me it's about dinner time, so this is a really tough conversation to have. I just want to make that clear.
No, that's fine.
But no, I was kidding. It's just now the food that I would probably not consider eating now looks absolutely delicious to me right now. But the Waffle House, I don't know if it's kind of a California thing too. But there's Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is like Waffle House concept, but actually really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I've always heard about that.
That place is amazing because, like, I mean, how you go wrong with a big waffle with just smeared butter and maple syrup, actual maple syrup, and 2 gigantic like buttermilk deep fried chicken breasts on top of your waffle. I mean, it's you see, you gotta try it. I mean, it's It's actually those two things. I thought, and it was like, why do those two things go together at all? But they
It's
just
so
do.
different.
They just do. It's like magic. And I might have to go find one.
Magic.
So
shit.
this bean place you speak of.
I'm trying to look for it. It had like a bunch of egg salad. It's like a very well-known place. How would I look it up on my phone since my computer's being a dick? Has anyone, as a segue, have any of you been to the Cheesecake Factory?
I have.
I really
My
don't
uncle's now ex-girlfriend used to work there, so she actually brought food from that place to me at times whenever I sometimes visit him.
Nice.
And I'm like, well, thanks. I mean, you didn't even have to, but okay. That's how I try the desserts.
The Cheesecake Factory strikes me as the kind of fancy restaurant that you take your date out to when you're 17 years old, I think.
Yeah, I went there all the time. You can go there if you just want a regular business meeting, if you want to do a party, if you just want some beer and some casual cafe, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's definitely got like the pizzazz of like a fancier place, but like the food is just super heavy, obviously. But
You can choose how big you want it and make sure you got your wallet.
Yeah, it's what I mean. Like you're being charged as if you're going to fine dining, but it's Cheesecake Factory. And I mean, I like the Cheesecake Factory. I'm not saying I don't, but they're trying to rope in folks who didn't necessarily have that experience yet in their lives to know the difference. I think that's kind of their shtick. But
totally.
there's one.
So this bean place.
Oh, the bean place. Okay.
Dickie's Barbecue.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yep.
So of all the places, I could not for the life of me remember the name of it. It's like oh, those beans, man, those are some good heavy beans.
Man.
Yep, they were.
Yeah, no, that I went there at like one of the bigger locations, and then it took me a while to realize, hey, I went to a smaller location right by a closed down Rio Mambo, and I was like, I think I've been to this place before, but this is a different location. Oh, it's Dickie's Barbecue.
I am actually just, I feel I'm very embarrassed to admit that we have a Dickie's here in town. I didn't even know it was a chain.
That's just it. It's like they would casually see it on like a billboard or something, but it's like, I don't think anyone, they weren't the kind that just advertised it. It's like even my local
not too often.
Asian buffet advertises itself. It's like, geez, I've never seen a Dickie's Barbecue ad. It's like it didn't, and for whatever reason, it's just like it's just got that casual crowd. Whether it's a group of cowboys getting together or just a bunch of people who just want a bunch of beans and potato salad.
Well, I think also they do catering too, which also kind of throws you off.
I think that's just it too.
That's it too. Yep.
They got enough of a crowd who's got a private birthday party event and they want their Dickies.
I mean, I as far as chains go, I mean, they deliver, man. I love their brisket, man. It's good.
Oh, it is really good.
I think I did. Didn't they have some meatloaf there as well?
I think they did, if I remember correctly.
It was like, it was big, and you're like, yeah, you're gonna have to take that home and get that doggy bag going.
Yep, that's what I had to do too.
I mean,
I didn't know how big they were either, but I just figured it's like I've seen them in every area of town. This got to be at least in 10 other states.
There's two of them close to me, so.
And I think they, and I haven't had it, but if I didn't look, I think they also do Carolina style, which is very unusual when you find.
I think so.
Restaurant.
Yeah, it's like.
Usually it's just Texas style, but to see actual Carolina style.
Yeah, I could tell they definitely were a Texas thing. It just kind of came off to me as something you'd see like in Alabama or Kentucky. It's just like that one of the kind that just is like they're not going to serve it just anywhere. They're going to be very strategic about where they serve it, but it's like it's kind of got that just general vibe. It's like we can be by all the fast food chains or we can be by the restaurant chains. Either way, people come.
Yep.
Like you can take it to go or you can take it to just stay a while.
I think I know where I'm eating tonight. Probably will be, because it's right down the street. But it's also good. But I tell you, I don't know about you guys. Have been, maybe it's easy for you where you live, but in California, trying to find like proper buffalo wings is a challenge, because they don't necessarily understand what that actually means. Like it took years before you actually get one. And I don't know if you got like a favorite wings place, but I'm always interested in hearing about other people.
I'm totally. That's why we're doing this episode. Is talking about the best shit we've eaten and the worst shit we've eaten based on
the only wings place I have around here that I've tried is Buffalo Wild Wings. That's the only one I've tried.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, they have like they advertise. They just don't have one around.
Well, they sure do, especially around here.
Yep. Well, they have a whole. I mean, in the Midwest, like the whole wings thing is like a whole is like an industry, because it's like it's all around like getting you in, serving you like insanely hot food and beer, and watching college football. I mean, that's literally their business model.
And then avoiding the ones where you can actually hear yourself think instead of it's music playing nonstop while sports play very loudly in the other room. And then, sports bars, of course, are the worst. It's like, if we go there, we got to find a place that doesn't have smoke in the room.
Right. Well, these are like the new sports bars that are just like, you have like 20 TVs, and you go there for specific.
Can't even concentrate.
You go there first, and each part of because the restaurant's divvied out into different things, because there's obviously different games going on, and people take this stuff, this is serious business, man. So when you go, it's all kind of set up that way, so they know what you're coming in for, what game you're going in for. But yeah, like you'll never drink as much like low grade beer as you will at a wings place like that. I promise you. But like there's a place, I don't know if you've heard of it, called Frickers. They're all over the Midwest. But that's their model.
I've heard about Pluckers, but not Flickers or whatever.
Frickers. And it's Frickers. Yeah. Well, I think it's also, they're trying to be just slightly risque, but for Ohio, so that's what they get.
So there you go.
It's a good frickin' wings,
There you
They're
go.
pretty good wings.
The chicken equivalent of Hooters,
yes,
but just even bigger emphasis on the risque.
Speaking of Hooters, actually, still some of the best wings you've ever find. I'm telling you.
I could have a decent burger while I was there.
Never been there, actually.
It's a weird vibe seeing like the outfit is okay. I mean,
so there's Twin Peaks and there's Hooters and there's all those other ones. So yeah,
but the outfit. But what I get about the outfit is that cracks me up. And I mean, and just take everything else, all things created equal. The use of wearing like tights and stockings, is just weird. Like it's
so degrading.
It is just weird. And they go in there. I mean, I've show up there, and it's kind of like it's a lark, and in there, but it's like the wings are really, really good. But
I might have to get every chicken again. I just put it off for a while since I saw just so many cancer reports of chicken. But I do miss chicken. I do eat healthier brands of chicken, and I will eat some chicken if it's in like some of those Tex-Mex soups or tortillas somehow. But yeah, it's like I definitely thought Hooters had the better chicken and had decent burgers. And Twin Peaks, they had some decent burgers, but they really figured out what they had. I think a better selection of was just all the chips and queso. Is like that stuff tasted way better than Hooters.
Right. I mean, it's like the whole sports bar food like formula. I mean, every day they tweak it and they all have their own vibe. Like Hooters is trying to be a little raunch.
You can eat it outside. There's an outside cafe, and then there's an inside cafe, and then there's a more private area if you just want less music and want to just be left alone while you have your friends together.
Well, I'll tell you, there's no more cognitive dissonance than going to a Hooters in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Well, just sort of like, it's San Francisco. So
I've been to San Francisco numerous times because of family, but yeah, I've never been to one there. So yeah,
it's just down at the wharf, and the wharf is kind of where that sort of stuff goes, like the chain stores and sort of just, the sort of the tacky tourist traps and stuff are down there at the wharf. So
get
there's
the
a few.
most beautiful waitresses on there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not being sarcastic. No, the point is just like there's because San Francisco is about being kind of at a sort of higher level of consciousness than the rest of the country as far as being socially aware. But then there's the Hooters and it's a pretty popular joint. So I was just bringing attention to that. But it's just kind of funny. I mean,
yeah. They had pretty casual bookstores, and restaurants were very interesting. It wasn't hard to get to some more mom and pop kind of restaurants versus big chains.
Oh my God, man! I have to tell you, I crave just finding like a real mom and pop, like small restaurant vibe. Just a sort of an earnest, genuine experience going to a restaurant sometimes is just to find a place where you can just get a burger and not all this froofy stuff. It just it is. There's something very grounding about it, and I think that's actually
fun.
It just is. It's just
ground that means. But no, it's so true. It's just like
I did it again.
I can't help myself, but yeah, it's like it is kind of one of those. It's like I feel way more comfortable eating here, supporting someone who's made this their life's work, and it's not going to a giant ass corporation.
Yeah, there's we have a few in town, and they're just like I think every town's got them too. That
some of them will
all
mix
night
it with a dance place or just a bigger giant beer and local music playing. Yeah, so.
Or they'll just be sort of perfectly situated in the middle of a club district, so they get lots of late night drunk money, and for their serving burgers. I mean, because these places exist and they've survived the decades because they're savvy. They know exactly how to they know their town, they know their customers, and they know how to make it work, right? It's like, how else are these places going to survive against corporations, right? That's exactly, it's the hustle.
Well, and I respect these guys more because they also just know how to just kind of just be more casual with the sell versus, waste their breath on everyone,
Right.
So many of these big giant commercial ones would just have terrible. You could tell whoever trained them just was not doing their job right. It's like, yeah, I can tell you don't want to be here. It's like, and I get it. The pay is terrible, and we're gonna have to tip you guys. I remember being at one Tex-Mex restaurant where I just could not tip the guys. It's like they were just talking our faces off to her. It's like, hold on. It's like, and there's being nice, and then there's just being overbearing, and this was the case. Probably sound like a dick for
it. That's happened to me once or twice.
It's like, dude, I love what you're doing, but now is like, I don't know if you're just trying to get a tip, and it's like, I'm already gonna tip you, but now you're just being an annoying asshole.
Well, I mean, or they could have just been, I don't even say it. In the restaurant industry,
they thought they were a good salesman, and really is like no one would buy anything they have to sell because it's just trying too hard. Legit.
Yeah.
Or they were just high. I was just going to say that, but anyway.
He wasn't high. He was just, who knows? Maybe he was just trying to flirt with some of these people. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that is true. That sort of hammy, sort of professional, sort of, I'm going to be your friend for the next 45 minutes it's cloying, to say the least. And sometimes you just want to be left alone.
To quote Universal Soldier, I just want to eat. I just want to eat.
Well, that was what that was Idiocracy. That's
oh yeah.
That was the only restaurant that seemed to survive was Carl's Jr. and they changed it to like, and their motto was "fuck off, I'm eating."
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man,
I can totally see a feature like that where it's like pimps are becoming presidents.
Yeah, well,
Every
whatever.
guy is a drug dealer. Every woman's a prostitute. Like, yeah.
But what is well, we try not to think too hard about when, like, reality starts to become like TV.
It was like, yep, that predicted
Yeah.
it pretty well.
But
Almost all those
I think-
types that they portray basically have a reality show now.
mhm. Yeah, and the weird part about that is that it's so much. It does, in fact, like trends and stuff actually do, and like become what they are was once fiction, and especially with like
Hiding it now.
like with I mean, there's I think of like I'm trying to think of like the various. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in California, there's always sort of the fusion thing, like mixing up like. If you think about one, you think about one, just one sort of food from one part of the planet and one other sort of food in the other side of the planet, and try to think of the most absurd combinations of the two, and
Pizza
and you'll see
burgers.
it, right? Or what it's like, we'll have like,
What crazy name
whatever
can I come up with?
Well, it was like there was a mixture of somebody had done like it was a fusion of American / Ethiopian food. I don't know if you've ever had Ethiopian
yes.
food, but it's like, and it's like you have different types of like food that's made into sort of a mush or a paste on bread, and it's it's very specific and it's good, and it's a lot of different varieties of it. But you can't. I mean, the idea of mixing that with anything doesn't seem to really catch, but. And therefore, like there was a joke, I don't remember what movie it was, where they said like, is it a cross between Ethiopian jazz dump and American fry? And it was just meant to be a joke, but now such things exist, and that's what it is.
I forget this one place. It's one of those, and it is a franchise. It is a chain, but it's just one of those. It's like they do kind of have a mixture of kind of what you would see kind of Ethiopian or Greece, just kind of, just like it's so common nature for everyone to just kind of have just a casual, just like custard or other kind of sauce, and you just got all this bread that you can dip in or wrap it together with other, salad wraps or meat. It's just like everyone's so used to the whole just casual, just kind of choose your dish and combine it with others while you have a beer and talk for hours. I'll close this out here. BJ's Brewhouse. Surely you've heard of that one.
I've heard of that, but there's not one around here. I know that for a fact.
Oh, really? Jeez. Okay.
I know you wanted to close off on a solid one. I haven't heard that before. BJ's
I've had
Brewhouse.
a few local ones. Yeah. Talk about the name. What does it stand for? So headquartered in Huntington Beach, California. They have other chains like Restaurant and Brewery, BJ's Grill, BJ's Pizza and Grill. So
But it's all various BJ-oriented foods, is what you're trying to say.
And they do not provide you a blowjob, but they do, in fact.
Oh, that's what you meant. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
So specialty styles and desserts. I'm telling you, I have never had more delicious, just, dark chocolate brownies with ice cream. It's like you can make a sundae, and it's like it's the same formula as Cheesecake Factory, where it's like you can go there just for the beer, for the bar, or you can go there for just a small family gathering, or you can go for just a random, just business or friend one-on-one friend meet, and it's like it doesn't matter. The music's not too loud, and there's no smoking, and it's an outside part, and then you got TVs, but they're not distracting. You can actually hear.
Yeah, and I'm looking at I just popped to their website.
Oh, there's one in Louisiana, John.
It looks good and all, but it's one of the few restaurants I've seen that actually on their images of their food, the food's served in plastic containers. So that's different.
It is a treat, and I mean, they just keep it straight up with you up front. And it's like, do you want to take this to go, or do you want to stay here a while? And it's like, I mean, and I've never found anything awkward about how anything was placed. You could actually get up out of the seats and not have to walk over someone, or be cramped, and just like the whole thing was just, those are always just top of the line, just very, very clean, and especially the restrooms, thank God.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting you said it's Louisiana because I was looking at these combo meals and they're like, a big pizza and a bottle of wine, and it's like, oh, that's got to be Louisiana because that's the only state you're allowed to do that.
I think I know why. Because this company here says they bought 26 Petros Pizzas restaurants in March of '96 for 2.8 million. So there you go. They might have acquired a bunch of bars and pizza joints.
Yeah, that's happening. I mean, you gotta.
And I love reading this. It's like I learned so much on Wikipedia about food.
Yeah,
typically some of them would have like how we were founded in the back. Why, it's like, but most of the time those are just like casual mom and pop restaurants that have like an arcade or just a bar and a taco stand.
I see what one is. Louisiana. Okay. Now I know who it is.
Yeah, and just that giant red and yellow logo. It looks like something you'd see like as a movie production studio.
That's what it looks like.
Or maybe as part of, but they know how to figure it out. It's like I generally can't go to any mall that doesn't have it as part of a strip or just as in that same zone right by a theater. So it's like, yeah, I would totally rather. I would not be surprised if they start teaming with a local movie studio in the future. It's like, hey, I'll take going to the movies if they're serving me BJ's Brew House.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I'm looking at this and they have like
Florida,
cocktails to
Kansas,
go.
Colorado, Arkansas, Jesus, yeah, cocktails to go. Yep.
Like I mean, I don't know what it's. I mean, liquor laws are around you, but like
it's own handcrafted beers. Yeah, and
like just to walk out of a restaurant with a full cocktail. The idea of that, that's
it was very well, and it was just very casual. It's like anyone could select anything they wanted, and you never felt you could go for a fancy tone, or you could go for it's like you could just eat yourself to death like just any of those other just giant spaghetti warehouse type joints,
Yeah, spaghetti warehouse on the wall. I mean, what a name. I mean, what spaghetti warehouse.
Well, this is ironic. Apparently, one located in Louisiana is actually next to a movie theater.
There you go.
So you could like get your carry-out cocktails and then just go right into the movie theater. So you can like
Exactly.
do two things that you probably can't do in any other state.
You make sure you can have someone give you a ride home.
Exactly.
I think that's I don't know. They have them around here too. Like I guess this reminds me of Alamo Draft House, which I don't know if you've had that. Is it
really surprised I haven't? I think I did see one by an Alamo Draft House, and it was just like, really? No way.
It's got it all. It's got the food, it's got the liquor, and it's got the movies. I mean, where else
every
do you
draft
need to
house
go?
always has a casual cafe. Is like that's what they figured out. Is like because they just knew people would be standing around. They didn't want you going to the nearby shrimp or.
But they have all. I mean, their whole thing was centered around the movie theaters. So like that's But it's they've turned the sort of the sports bar thing into the movie theater thing, and it totally works.
They really have.
It's really good.
They have.
Excellent.
I have to go that one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They actually, and not to go too far aside, but they do a lot of like weird like odd films, film festivals, and small release stuff.
I told John that's where I met Frank Conniff and Trace Blue.
Right. That's right, because they were doing some things
they're still doing them. Yep.
Right.
And now they're doing them over Zoom, but I guarantee you, when everything gets back to some kind of normalcy, they'll be back there just interacting with the audience. And I could tell they just needed a beer before they got back to their hotel and passed out. I was like, I gotta let them go. I gotta let them go. I would be pissed if I had to wait 20 more minutes too. I could just tell Frank was having trouble hearing because it was just a very loud crowd. And meanwhile, I was telling him what my shirt was. It was a mixture of Pulp Fiction and Leon the Professional.
He's like, that's great.
He's like, I think I know half that reference. What's the other reference? And I'm like, 2 hit movies from 1994.
That's Frank Conniff. He's so candid.
He is an awesome motherfucker. He is so awesome, and I'm glad all these guys have been able to stay alive as long as they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many of these other comedians we would talk about for years, and it's like, yeah, but by 97 or something, they were, long gone. And we're now.
Well, I think also like these guys, they stay true to themselves, which I really appreciate. I think more than anything, because
you don't feel like they're just reading off a half-assed script and improvising. They really are. It's like they write their material because that's part of that. It's them, and it's part of them. They know their formula.
Yeah. I'd love to catch them at a con or something like that, because they're kind of in a way heroes, I suppose.
They really are natural storytellers through comedy, and it's like that's pretty unheard of. Unfortunately, everyone just seems to think comedy just goes back to how well do I tell the punchlines. Like, well, first you got to be able to get anyone's attention first before you can decide whether or not you're funny. And
especially Trace. You're right. He kind of has a sort of flair for that, especially dropping stuff in the middle of a story. But
I missed their podcast because it's like they were reviewing all kinds of movies and they were having to decide, are we going to review a movie we love or a movie we mocked?
Yep.
They unfortunately did away with it after like about a year and a half, and I was like, I missed that. 2018, 2019. I'm like, damn.
Let's check them out.
I have to check that out too.
Well, if you can find a copy anywhere, they took it down.
I'll see.
Oh, they did? Yeah. But I mean, we'll say about just last thing on Alamo, man, is the one thing they also have is an app, so you can actually watch the weird movies they show or whatever, online. So they have so they know their audience. I mean, that was where I saw
around the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was where I saw when the Zappa movie was just released last year in the middle of COVID, which I was there. So. But yeah, if you haven't gone, highly recommend it.
Anybody, please go to the Alamo Cast. So thank you all for being on the show, and if anyone wants to promote anything, they can. If not,
all right, good. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
Glad to hear.
All right, thank you all for being on here. And now this is making us hungry.
Sure is.
Get some dinner. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, feeling down? Feeling low? Not enough podcasts about movies in your life? Why not try
They must be destroyed on sight.
the new Podcast Cure-All, sure to get you right with the world and on a path to better living. We have exploitation, we have Italian horror, we have zombies, we have slashers, we have crime films, we have spaghetti westerns, we even have sci-fi and sex comedies. So take a dose of
They must be destroyed on sight.
as needed, and let the hosts, Lee Russell, Daniel Harper, Paul Romali, and the odd guest host cure what ails you.
Warning, may cause atrophy, African consumption, black fever, bone shave, chin cough, colic, cramp colic, dropsy of the brain, elephantitis, grocer's itch, jaundice, mania, miasma, mortification, palsy, Pott's disease, rheumatism, scurvy, St. Anthony's fire, summer complaint, and worm fit in some people. Consult a physician before listening.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of here.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this movie.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going
How
to be a
did you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Hey everybody, I'm Corey.
And I'm Zach, and we're the hosts of Podcasting After Dark, a cast dedicated to late-night horror and sci-fi of the 80s and 90s, often found on HBO and Cinemax.
You know, the movies your parents didn't want you watching as a kid. You can find us every other week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and Stitcher.
This is what you want.
This is what you get.
It's time, let's check our queue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. With a one-liner plot holes and gratuitous movies. It's time to get busy with your friend Steve and Izzy at eilfm.podbean.com.
Welcome to Who Was She podcast. I am your host, Tara Jabari. After a decade working in documentaries, marketing, and all things digital media, I found that podcasting is a strong medium to share stories. After years of producing for others, I decided to start my own biographical podcast. Who Was She will focus on the life of a woman throughout Baha'i history. The first season is about Lydia Zemenov. Lydia's story explores the subjects of the power of language and faith. Her father invented the universal language Esperanto, and she came from a Jewish family and became a Baha'i. She grew up during World War I and was killed during World War II in a concentration camp, despite heroic efforts to save her life. How can one person's life intersect with so many others, connect across borders, and inspire a biography which inspired this podcast? Over the next few weeks, I will share her story with you and the lives that were most affected by her and those who affected her life as well. They include her father, Litwin Jon, her spiritual mother, American journalist Martha Root, and the Baha'i German soldier Fritz Mako, who worked for the resistance undercover while having to serve the Nazi Party. I want to thank the author Wendy Heller and George Ronald Publishing for their blessing to let me use Heller's biography, Lydia, The Life of Lydia Zemenov, Daughter of Esperanto, as a main and instrumental resource for this podcast. So please subscribe and learn about this amazing woman who traveled through 3 continents in an effort to bring unity through the power of language. You can also find more information on our Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Who Was She Podcast. Music was composed and performed by Sam Red. I am your host, Tara Jabari. Join us next time as we begin our journey about Lydia Zemenov.
Are you sick of the same old stale podcasts? Well, then join Vanessa and Darren as they dissect movies of all kinds. The 2 lifelong cinema lovers bring their favorites, curiosities, and first-time watches to the operating table and inject them with a healthy dose of snark. Then there's the waiting room, where they examine books and short stories. So just look for them on Apple Podcasts and where fine podcasts are available. They're part of the Legion Podcast Network. Follow them on Twitter at VD Clinic Pod. Join them on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/VD Clinic Pod. Or email them at vdclinicpod@gmail.com. They're ready to cure what ails you. And still, they just might be a little contagious.
Hi there. It's Heather from the Watching Netflix Without You podcast. Did you know that there are over 1,200 Netflix original feature films and documentaries? And that number is only growing. So I've made it my mission to watch as many as I possibly can. Then, with a delightful guest or guests, disclaimer, more often than not my brother Ryan, we spend an episode rating, reviewing, and discussing a film at length. The first half of every episode is spoiler-free for those who haven't seen it yet, and in the second half, after a very clear spoiler warning, we dive into it. And that's really about it. You can listen to Watching Netflix Without You on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more.
We now continue with our program.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show.